Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. This is episode 69. Today, I had the immense pleasure of having Jen Gutfriend on. She is basically an empowerment coach, and basically, her focus is on empowering women who give too much to achieve their dreams. We had a very good conversation. We spoke on a number of different topics. And yes, with this young lady in your corner, I'm sure she'll help put you on the right path. Well, to one, discover your dreams and to achieve some greatness which lives within us all. So sit back, relax, enjoy the podcast, and yeah, have a fantastic day. Peace. Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Day In, Day Out podcast. Today it is episode number 69, the naughty number, say no more. Today I have Jen, a good friend, on. Yes, she is. She is the founder of Live Your Life, Live a Remarkable Life. Excuse me, I don't know why they got that confused. Excuse my dyslexia. But Jen, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Yeah, I was like very intrigued when like you came up on my email box. I was like, okay, you're all about empowering women out there at this present time. Uh, like I got to say, what made you take on such a phenomenal task?
Well, just because of myself, I was that woman who was not empowered. I literally bent over backwards for everybody. I was the people pleaser. I was that nice girl. I was the doormat for everybody. And my life sucked. I was miserable. I was unhappy. And I knew I wanted more. And I took my life into my own hands. Of course, it wasn't easy, but I did it.
Hmm.
And now I live this life that I love and I'm so happy. And it's all because I empowered myself to go after what I wanted, to not let people walk all over me. And it just created this happiness within me. And I want to share that happiness with other women because a lot of women don't think they can have that. They don't think that's available. And I just want to empower women to see that it is, that you can have anything you desire if you do the work.
It must be kind of interesting when you say, yeah, your life sucked. You were the doormat. You basically were like that person who was out there to please everyone. So, like, what sort of like was the thing? What going? Okay, yeah, this is me. This is what I am. To like going, wait a second. Where? How comes I've been living in this fog all my life, and then realize that's who I was, and now. What made you sort of snap out of it?
So it actually kind of started back in 2011, September 10th, 2011, actually. It was actually the day I got married. And I remember waking up the morning of my wedding, and the first thought that popped in my mind was, I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. But then in the next thought, all I could think of, but I'm going to disappoint everybody, so I can't do anything about it. So I married a man who treated me like garbage, who didn't respect me, who didn't love me, and I did that. And after the marriage or after the wedding, it got even worse. And I found myself a couple months later in the hospital. I'd actually was going in for x-rays, and during the x-rays I had been pushing myself so hard that I actually passed out while getting x-rays because my body was shutting down because I was in full-blown burnout. I had been trying to be everything to everybody and my body just couldn't take it anymore. Like it was literally shutting down, and the doctor said, if you don't do something, you may not be alive. And that was kind of my wake up call to say, what are you doing to yourself? Why are you acting this way? And to kind of reevaluate my life and go, why, what am I doing? And how can I make this better? Or I won't be alive much longer.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. Like to like wake up on your wedding day and go, no, this isn't for me. Like there must have been how like I don't know if you've watched the end of Back to the Future 3.
Yes.
Okay, you know how they've got these sort of different lines where it's like, yeah, this is the one stage one, which will go off. This is stage two, and like this is stage three. Like, wasn't there like a sort of stage one? Like, okay, no, no, no. What am I doing here? Let's get out now. You just went with it all the way. Did you have that or anything like this?
Oh yeah, the day he proposed. It was funny. The month before he proposed, we were on vacation together with some friends, and he drove me crazy. Like I was like, "What am I doing? This is crazy." And then, so I had my own business at the time, so I disappeared for a month, and this was just before Christmas, and I had to go see some clients. So I went out of town for a few weeks, and my trip due to snowstorms got delayed, and I ended up coming back like a couple days before Christmas, and showed up just in time for a Christmas party. We come home from the Christmas party and he proposed. And I remember the thought going through my mind of, what the hell do I do? Like, I can't say yes. Like, I just was going to break up with him. But then in the back of my mind, all I could think of is, but this is all people want for me. It was expected of me at a young age that you get married young, you pop out babies, you're the good wife, you stay at home and take care of your children while your husband goes out and supports you. And I was almost 30 at this point, and I didn't have that. So all I could think of was, well, this is going to make everyone else happy. I'm finally living the life everyone else wants for me. And if I say yes, then that just makes everyone even happier. So literally, I was silent for I don't know how long. It felt like forever. And then all of a sudden, it was like, uh, yes.
I can feel your pain when you're in. I was like, uh, yes, I guess so. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, oh no, no, that's hard, and like I can understand the sort of trap you were in, like living other people's expectations for your life. It is, I think, a trap which too many people fall into, like guys and girls around the world. And this is the thing. Um, find that sort of courage, that bravery to sort of like go, wait a second, it's not your lives, it's my life. So please let me live it. Must have been quite quite a push, I'd imagine.
It was, yeah. I really had to hit my rock bottom, health wise, happiness wise, to really make that shift because I had spent my whole life trying to take care of everyone else. And it was so funny because I was living what everyone considered that picture perfect life. I had the marriage, we were going to have kids, we had a house, like I had a business that made, it was pretty successful. And everyone was saying how picture perfect my life was and how jealous they were of my life. And inside I was dying because I was miserable and I felt so guilty. I'm like, everyone thinks I have this perfect life. Why am I so miserable? Why am I so unhappy? What's wrong with me? Like, that's all I could think of was what's wrong with me. But then it took that passing out in the hospital to realize that what's wrong with me is I'm not living my life. Like, I'm trying to do everything for everybody else. And I'm not going to say it was easy walking away, but within a few months, I made a plan and I realized that my happiness was the most important thing. And if I didn't focus on that, then I might not be alive. So just before my 30th birthday, I literally walked away from everything. I walked away from my marriage. I walked away from my business. I walked away from most of my friendships because I realized that every one of them was built on a lie and on making them happy, not on creating my own happiness. And for once in my life, I'm starting today, I was going to start focusing on my happiness for once and doing what made me happy. And honestly, it was the best decision I ever made. It was hard to walk away from everything, but now looking back, I couldn't imagine my life if it was still that way. I don't know if I'd still be alive if I was like that.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. Walking away from like your marriage, that's one thing. Walking away from like your friends, that's another. Walking away from your business, like okay, depending where you are emotionally, that's like three different tiers. Because when I speak to some people who've like started their businesses and stuff like this, it's like, oh, that's my child. You come at it, I will take you out. But like to like, oh yeah, no, I'm done with it. That must have been like, wow, like what are you doing? Like, how do I make money? Like I've got to find this new identity. Like what did you do to sort of reconstruct from there?
Yeah, so walking away from business, I was really good at it. Like, I was really good at my business. I had a financial consulting business. I worked with other businesses, helped them kind of get their numbers in order. And I was really good at it, but I didn't love it. Like, it was every day I got up and I was like, oh, I get to go do this again. Okay, great. Like, I loved being my own boss and I loved that aspect,
Mhm.
but I didn't love the work. And to be able to walk away, I'm like, I know I meant to be an entrepreneur. I know I meant to have my own business, but this isn't it. Like, I want something that lights me up. And this is when I discovered personal development. At the time, I grew up in a very straightforward family, very much you go to school, you get an education, you listen to that. Like, there was no personal development books. There was none of that kind of stuff in my life. And when I left everything, I'm like, I need to figure myself out. I am going to read every book. I'm going to do everything I can. I've seen counselors, I worked with coaches, and it was like, I need to do something to figure out my life. And I started reading personal development books and I literally was hooked. Some days I was reading one book a day, like just devouring them, going, oh my God, where has this been my whole life?
Mhm.
And that changed my life, like those personal development books. And I realized after a couple of years that these shifted my life so much. This is what I want to do with my life. Like, these books have helped me and I've seen how these coaches have helped other people, and I'd worked with coaches and I'm like, this whole coaching world is absolutely amazing. How do I become a part of it? And so that's what I did. I'm like, if I can make a living helping other people, why am I not doing that?
No, very true. No, like this is the thing. I find that when we sort like when you like go through school, you get your education, you go through college, university, depending, or if you like finish school and you go into work, there is not a lot of focus on oneself, uh, like to make sure, okay, how is my mental health in order? Isn't like the things in my head, the voices, always the voices. I'm not saying the weirdest and craziest things to me to sort of like, oh, okay, this is me and this is the things I need to make myself happy, content, or basically to find that next thing which might make you a better person, like to really put you on that path. It like I find it very interesting that when you started doing personal development, it was like, I can see now where you couldn't see before.
Exactly. It was like this whole new world opened up to me, and I started to understand myself, why I was the way I was. And that to me was so freeing because I always thought there was something wrong with me. Even as a child, I was different and I couldn't understand it. I never truly fit in. I couldn't understand why. And through these personal development books, I could figure it out finally. It's like, I see why I'm different and I know how to be different and be happy. Before, I was always trying to fit in, and trying to fit in doesn't work for me because I'm not meant to fit in this little mold. I'm meant to be me, but it was, how do I be me but be happy and find my little niche in this world? And I wish they taught this stuff to children. I wish they taught this stuff in college. Like, I look at our world and go, okay, you're teaching math and you're teaching English and reading and all these things, and that's great, but there's so many children out there being bullied or don't understand themselves. They don't understand their emotions or how to express themselves. And with women especially, this is where I'm so passionate, is that self-worth piece. How many women in this world have those thoughts of, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough? Like, I hear it in my 12-year-old or 13-year-old niece once in a while. I hear it in her friends. I hear it in women in their 20s, 30s, 40s. It's like, why are we not teaching those things? Because if you teach a woman to feel enough and to love herself unconditionally, she can do absolutely anything.
Mm.
Whereas, what is math and English? Yeah, they're great things to have, but why aren't we teaching our children more?
Yeah, like I think one of the things with today, which I didn't have when I was a kid, and like I believe you had it as well, is the whole sort of social media pressure, and with regards to how that can affect, especially like it affects like guys too, but I think it affects maybe young girls a little bit more because like what they don't like when you see a social media influencer like done up to the nines and everything, like they look a certain way, what they don't sort of say is, well, they may have had a surgery here or like they've had everything tuned up or like through Facebook, no, not Facebook, Photoshop or by other means. And you're like, oh, right. So that sort of expectation to sort of what they're putting out there, it's such an edited version that you shouldn't really be looking at those guys to put that extra pressure on yourself, if you get what I mean.
Oh, exactly. We have these unrealistic ideas of what a woman is supposed to look like. And I know even when I met my ex-husband,
Mm,
I was tiny. I had lost a ton of weight. I was really skinny, but I hadn't worked on the inside. So even though I was skinny, I still felt fat and ugly. Everyone else looked at me and thought, wow, she's beautiful. Like, but I couldn't believe it because I had this image in my head of not being enough, not being pretty enough, not being skinny enough. So even when I was skinny and pretty and all these things, I never felt it because there just wasn't that belief inside. And I see it all the time, like children who have maybe just a little bit of a belly and they go, oh my God, I got to diet. And these anorexics and they're starving themselves. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm bigger than I was before. And I love my body now. I love my curves. I love my belly. I love everything about me because that's me. And when you love yourself, you don't care what the outside looks like anymore. It's like people are going to accept you for you. And if they don't, I don't give a crap. Like if people don't like how I look, that's their problem, not mine. And I want women to have that same feeling because that feeling is power.
mm,
And when you don't allow others to control how you feel about yourself or put your worth into somebody else's hands, it's amazing what you can do with your life.
mm. No, I agree. I agree. And yeah, like with that, it is, I think it's always a hard thing uh, when it's one of those things when you want to really sort of make a change in one's life. There is like how you said you left your husband, how you said you left your business, and how you said you left your friends. I'd say one of the things which I think always perplexes people that their friends sometimes are some like the people which are the ones who are like, no, don't change, stay the way you are. You'll be the like you will like you just right now. I know you say you're upset. I know you say you're miserable and everything like this. You don't need to change. You'll be fine. And I know sometimes it comes from a place of love and sometimes it comes from another place, but it's weird. And making those sort of changes. When you went, yes, I had to leave like some friends behind. I don't know if that sort of, I don't know if that sort of rings true for you or there was other reasons why.
Yeah, so for me, a lot of it was the type of people I had attracted into my life. Like even my best friend,
Mm,
I look back now and I go, she wasn't a real best friend. She was there when she needed me. I was always there when she needed me. Whenever she wanted to go out, whenever she wanted to do things, I was always there. But when I needed her, she truly wasn't there for me. And when I started to shift my life and focus on me, she actually got quite rude. She started spreading rumors about me, started telling everybody how horrible I was and saying all these bad things because all of a sudden I wasn't there for her and at her beck and call. And more or less, it was like this dominant relationship. As long as she could control me, she was happy.
mm,
And a lot of my friendships were that way. These people were in my life because they liked me being the people pleaser, the nice girl who was always there when they needed it and always doing what they asked whenever they wanted, but they were never there for me. And that was kind of a theme in all my relationship, family, friends, husband, everything.
mm.
I was always there for them. I was always there when they needed me, but when I truly needed them, I couldn't count on anybody. And that to me wasn't real friendships. And why would you be with people who just want to take advantage of you and make you feel like garbage and push you down to keep you below them? Like my best friend, that was one of the worst things. She always beat me down, like knocked me down, said bad things. Anytime I felt good about myself, she would knock me down a peg or two to make herself feel better. And I look back now and I go, why did I put up with that? But the mental space I was in at the time, I didn't think I deserved better, or I didn't think I could have better. And I thought that's all there was available to me. So I allowed it to happen. Now, because I'm in a different space mentally, I'm happier. I don't allow people like that into my life. They just disappear. And honestly, they don't even come into my life. Now, the friends I attract, they're happy people, they're ambitious people, they're very much like me, and we support each other. There's no tearing each other down. It's just these great, happy relationships.
Oh, Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, like, you know what? Getting rid of toxic people is always a positive in one's life rather than having them there because, as they say, one bad apple. Like, but yeah. Yeah, no. I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. So with getting past the business, removing toxic friends away from your life, you like went through all of the books for self-development, but what was the sort of like first step you took, like after reading the books to like go, okay, this is the step in the right direction?
Yeah, so for me, my biggest catalyst to change was hypnotherapy. I had been reading the books, I'd been trying to implement things, and it wasn't working. It was like I would take 3 steps forward and 5 steps back. I would get these big shifts, I would feel happy, I would learn something new, and it was great, but there was something that just kept pulling me backwards and pulling me backwards. And I met this lady one time, and she was a hypnotherapist, and she said, she was talking about subconscious blocks, and I'd read about these in books, and it was kind of like this big aha moment, but I didn't know what mine were. I kept trying to work through them and trying to figure out what were these beliefs I had that were holding me back. And so I met this hypnotherapist. She's like, "Oh, well, hypnotherapy, I'll help you figure that out. We'll just go in your mind and ask it." And I'm like, "Well, it can't be that easy." She's like, "Oh, yeah, it is." So I tried hypnotherapy. I'm like, you know what? I am open to try anything.
Yeah.
So my first hypnotherapy session, I wanted to deal with these feelings of not enough because I knew that not feeling enough, pretty enough, smart enough, whatever it was in my life was what was holding me back. And the first time I ever created that belief in my life, I was only 2 days old. And through hypnotherapy, I went back to being 2 days old, hearing my mom talk about how difficult her delivery was, how difficult her birth was, how difficult her pregnancy was, and how difficult of a baby I was. So at only 2 days old, I created this belief that I wasn't enough, that I was difficult and I was trouble, and that I would have to prove myself. And there was other scenes within that session that it just kept showing me all these moments in my life where that was reinforced, where I wasn't good enough, I wasn't as good as my brother, I was never good enough. And so in adulthood, I never believed that. And through hypnotherapy, I was able to go back and understand, oh my God, this is why I am the way I am. And then I created these new beliefs, and it was almost this instant shift. It was like this realization of, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that, and put whole new beliefs in my mind that made me feel enough and made me feel good enough and pretty enough and smart enough. And it was like magic. Like when I come out of my hypnotherapy session, I felt like a completely different person, and my life after that started to shift. And I continued with the hypnotherapy and working with coaches, and it was what had taken me, years of reading books had taken me months of hypnotherapy to shift.
So, well, you seem to have a very sort of positive experience with hypnotherapy. So, like with that, it was a case of you did the hypnotherapy, you had your epiphanal moment and went, "Oh my Lord, what was I thinking?" Like it's like, "Oh my Lord, like it's so clear now. It makes so much sense." To like going, "Okay, how do I do what you do?" To the lady. So like, yeah. So how do you become a hypnotherapist? Okay.
Because of such profound effects I had already started in the coaching realm because I wanted to help people. So I was doing the coaching and I was getting my clients great results. But when I had done the hypnotherapy myself and got like amazing results, it's like, I have to do this. I have to do this for myself. Like I want to get people these same results. So I looked into a whole bunch of different schools. There was different schools all around the world. And I actually found a course out of the UK with Marissa Peer. She's a world-renowned hypnotherapist and actually counselor as well, like a psychologist. And she works with the royal family and a whole bunch of celebrities. And I liked her methodology. Like there was a bunch of different schools out there, but there was just something about her methodology that really appealed to me. And so I started doing the training, and not only did I learn hypnotherapy, but I worked on myself at the same time, and I furthered myself even more during my training and figured things out. And doing that training was the best thing I ever did. And my client results were even better, and my clients were even happier because the results we were getting in 6 months to a year, we now were getting those in 3 to 6 months. So they're getting bigger results in a quicker period of time. And of course, they're happier and I'm happier because I don't want to work with people forever. I don't want them to rely on me to create changes and find happiness. I want them to find that within themselves. So if I can work with somebody and have them completely transform their lives in 6 months, that makes me so happy. I want to send them out into the world and find that happiness and chase their goals and dreams just like I did.
No, you want to be a good coach, not like basically don't want them around, like you don't want to become their crutches. You want them to be strong enough to stand for themselves and like, yeah, take on the world and achieve new goals and dreams, no doubt.
Exactly. They don't need me by their side. They can do it on their own. And the sooner I can show them that and help them make the transformations, the sooner they can go out and start living their dreams.
Perfect, perfect. So, um, how long were you a coach before you became a hypnotherapist and a coach?
So I was coaching for about 3 years before I did my hypnotherapy training.
Okay. And with that, it was a case of what type of coaching were you doing before?
So I originally started with the burnout side of things because I had healed myself from my own burnout when I had passed out in the hospital. The doctors had pretty much told me there's nothing they could do. There was nothing medically they could do for me. You know what? I would just have to take it easy. My favorite line from one doctor was, "Oh, well, passing out is no big deal. Just put your head between your legs."
Fair enough.
So yeah, so I had taken my health into my own hands. I started seeing a naturopath, doing some other healing modalities, and I had taken back my life. I healed myself from burnout. I healed my body. It took a while, and I kind of loved the just learning about that and healing myself. So I took some training to be a health coach because I thought, well, if I healed myself from this, there's so many other women out there that are healing from like that have burnout that need the help. So I started in that realm. But then I realized after a while that I didn't want to heal burnout. I wanted to prevent it because a lot of the women that were coming to me had those similar issues. They were people pleasers. The reason they got into burnout and burnt themselves out was exactly the reason I did, because they were trying to be everything for everybody. They were the people pleasers. They were the person that was too nice, that couldn't say no to people. And then which resulted in the burnout. I'm like, well, why am I treating burnout when I can be treating them before they get to that point and showing them something different? And so that's when I shifted and went, okay, I don't want to treat, I want to prevent.
Yeah, like I know with regards to yourself, because you're a people pleaser and like you were putting everyone else first, this was the thing what led to your burnout. Was this like, was this a running theme for all of the people you took on board, or was there other reasons why burnout like came up for these ladies? Because I, like, I've been close to the edge to like when I've been working lots of hours and stuff, but each time sometimes feels a little bit different for me. I don't know if it's like there's one common running theme, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is I attracted women who were just like me, those women who were the people pleasers, who were too nice and were hitting burnout because they were trying to do everything for everybody. They weren't putting themselves first. And a lot of it centered around those relationships because they were trying to please everybody, because they were trying to make everyone happy and they didn't put themselves first. They had reached burnout like I did. And it was kind of crazy how you attract those type of people into your life, the people that were just like you, and it's like, oh, it's like I'm reliving my life all over again through you. And it's like, okay, I've been here, I've done that, I've walked your shoes, so I know how to help you. And then it was like, but I don't want to just help you, I want you to stop doing this. Because a lot of women, we could heal the burnout, but if they weren't dealing with people pleasing, they were just going to get themselves right back into that same
Mm,
step because they didn't stop the the actions that were causing the burnout in the first place. We weren't addressing that. We were just healing the burnout.
just basically kicking off the next, stopping the cycle, but the cycle begins again, which is, I can most probably quite frustrating for them and for yourself if you're coaching them, like trying to get them out of that cycle. Not an easy task at all, I imagine.
No, it's not, because I love, like, it was great seeing them heal, but then when they come back to me and go, oh, well, I'm starting to feel burnt out again, it was like, well, what's going on here? Why is this happening? And then I realized the reason I wasn't doing the burnout thing again is because I dealt with the people pleasing. And I realized that that was a big key to it. So a lot of the women that come to me, they do have some burnout or they're in full-blown burnout, but they come to me to help because they realize that that's what caused it. So they know if they address that, the burnout almost heals itself, because when you don't push yourself so much, you have that time to relax and take care of yourself and put yourself first. And then the burnout just magically disappears when you make yourself a priority.
Oh, excellent. I imagine, like with the hypnotherapy, hitting the sort of key sort of things, has that sort of helped sort of reduce the sort of people coming back again and again, or like because you like hit that the sort of key point quicker or more effectively?
Yeah, so the nice thing about hypnotherapy is it's permanent. Like the stuff we deal with, it's gone. Like when we dig up that old garbage from the past that creates these unhealthy beliefs and blocks, it just disappears. So the biggest one, like I said, is women not feeling enough. So at some point in their life, they were told they're not good enough. They're told they're not pretty enough, whatever that is. And when you take that away, and the thing with hypnotherapy is our brain is like a computer. So the subconscious mind, it has everything that was said to us, every memory, everything is stored in the subconscious mind. Whether we know it or not, what's in there, it's always there. And that subconscious mind tells us what to believe, how to act, how to think. So I like to use money blocks as a good example, because everyone understands money blocks. So if you have a hard time making money, you always spend it, you don't make it. I ask people, okay, what were the things that were said to you as a child? Like, did you hear things like money doesn't grow on tree? What do you think, we're made of money? Rich people are evil. So if you're hearing those things regularly as a child, your mind creates this belief that money's not good, money's evil, money isn't available to me. So you do everything in your life to sabotage money. So you may say, I want a successful business, I'm going to make six figures. But if you have those beliefs stored in your subconscious mind, whether you know they're there or not, you're going to keep sabotaging yourself. So every time you make lots of money, something's going to happen. Your car's going to break down, or something's going to happen to take that money away, because you truly inside don't believe it. So if you want to fix those mindset beliefs and you want to get something different in your outer world, you have to go into your subconscious and deal with the garbage there first, so that it allows you to have that. Because if you don't deal with what's going on in your mind, you'll never have what you want in your outer world.
Mm. Liking that a lot. Yeah, so like this is the thing. So that's one sort of like building block towards empowerment, I imagine, for many of your clients. What would be sort of other sort of building blocks or ways or methods apart from hypnotherapy? You go, hey, if you want to be more empowered, you should either do this, maybe do that, or do this exercise.
Yeah, so I focus on what I call my three pillars of self: the self-worth, self-love, and self-confidence. So if you want to be an empowered woman, focus on those three things, because when you love yourself, that self-worth piece, you don't put up with anything less from people. The self-love is all about taking care of yourself. How many women think taking a bath is a luxury? Like, how many times do you hear a woman say, oh, I'm doing some self-care, I'm going to go have a bath? And I'm like, that's self-care? Like, are you crazy? Or women that, oh, I don't get a moment alone to myself. You know what? I'm with the kids all day. I'm at work. Then I come home and take care of the kids. Like, you need to make self-care a priority. Whatever that is to you, your health, your mental health, physical health, like that is your priority. And then the confidence piece. If you aren't confident in yourself and believe in yourself, you don't always go after what you want. You have those feelings of, well, I can't do that because, or I'm not, you know what, smart enough for that, or I can't get that promotion, it's not available to me. So when you focus on those three self pieces, absolutely everything is available to you in life, because you know you're worth it, you know you can have it, and you know you just have to go out and make it happen. There's nothing else that holds you back. And you wake up every morning with this feeling of, I can do it, what am I going to achieve today? And then you go out and you make it happen.
Ah, I see. So do you get them to write down a plan, or just like, okay, this is like, it's like, this is the plan, hit these three things, or hit one of the things for the three pillars, and basically like by the end of the week, I want you to hit all 3 for the pillars?
Yeah, we work through them one at a time because they can take a lot. So we do the hypnotherapy, we work through the belief that stopped you from having that,
Yeah.
and then we start implementing it into your life. So maybe that is a self-care routine. It's, you know what, having them make time for themselves every day, even if to start that's an hour. It's like you need to find an hour in your day that's just for you, that you only get to do what you want to do. Nobody else, you know, it has any input. That is your time. Or the self-worth piece is learning to love yourself, like standing in front of the mirror. I love this exercise. For some reason, women can't look at themselves naked. They pick themselves apart. So I have women stand in front of a mirror and say all the things they love about themselves and just keep saying things until they feel good about it, until they start loving themselves, and to not pick themselves apart. Or even the confidence piece, stepping outside your comfort zone. Do something every day that's uncomfortable. Maybe that's going to your boss and asking for a raise. Maybe that's asking, you know, a new client to sign up with you or to extend with you. Whatever that is, it's do something that feels uncomfortable so that eventually it doesn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, like everything you're saying, I'm loving it a lot. It's just like what I tend to find in today's day and age, people like listen to that and go, "Oh God, yeah, that's amazing. Oh yeah, that's great. You really inspired me. I'm loving this." And then I go 2 days later, like, "How comes it hasn't happened?" That's like, oh, and I was like, "How comes it hasn't happened? You told me all of this. It's been 2 days. How comes I haven't seen this more confident, empowered person like come out of the ashes of my old self?" It's like you must have already had that a couple of times in your like, okay, give it time, be patient. Rome's never been wasn't made in a day. You can burn it down in a day, in a night, but it wasn't made in a day. So, so I imagine you might come across that a couple of times.
Oh, all the time. Women, we want these big changes and we want them now. But the thing is it's taken this long to create these habits. Like this, your life is a series of habits that have created who you are today. And like anything, we don't just get rid of those habits overnight. It takes time to shift. And the thing with the mind is all about giving us what it thinks we want, and it's all about safety and comfort. So your mind is going to keep doing whatever it can to pull you back to what's safe and comfortable, which is your old way of doing things. So you have to be willing to do the work and to push through those tough days and change your thoughts. And that's where the hypnotherapy is so powerful, because you can start changing your thoughts quite quickly, but there's still that habit change. You still have to create new habits. You're so used to doing things one specific way that we fall into those old habits. So you may think this is great, this is perfect, and you do things for 2 or 3 days and then you fall into old habits. And then you go, well, why aren't things changing? And it's like, well, because you fell into your old habits. You got to be conscious about things. You got to make new habits, new routines, really change the way you do things, because if you don't, you're just going to keep reverting back, because it isn't easy. Our mind wants us to revert back. I mean, our mind hasn't really evolved in the thousands of years since we were cavemen, and our only goal was to survive, to stay safe. And our mind still thinks that way, but that's not what we need to do anymore. We need to focus on happiness and joy and all those things, but we have to fight our minds sometimes on that and realize that sometimes we have to work to get to that point and to change our mind into realizing this is what I want. And when you change that and when you do the habits, I mean, what is it? They say 21 days to create a habit. So
Yeah.
so you can't create change in 2 or 3 days and say, I'm changed. This is great. I'm a new person. It's like, no, like you got to keep at it. And eventually, yes, it will stick.
Yeah. There is an American football coach, like long since passed. I don't know if you know Vincent Lombardi.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he goes, like, winning is a habit, as one of his sayings. And he goes, yeah, losing is also a habit. And like trying to break that, as you just saying, is very hard. If you're in a losing streak, it's very hard to break it, because everything feels like self-fulfilling prophecy, that why everything should be going wrong in your life. And breaking that winning habit, it's very hard to get that winning habit in the first place, but to break it as well, because yes, we are invincible, we're nigh on indestructible until something happens which breaks that. No, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we're in that negative mindset, it's hard to get out of that negative mindset. Whenever you're in that negative, something negative happens. See, I knew that was going to happen. Oh, yeah, my life sucks. And you get so focused on that negative aspect. So even when you start shifting, if you're still looking for those negative signs to reinforce it, you're always going to find something negative and go, see, that wasn't available to me. See, this sucks. See, that happened to me. Whereas if you shift your mindset and you start looking for the positive instead, even just the little things, and you stop focusing on the negative, it's like, oh, see, that was meant to work out for me. See, that person called me at just the right time. See, my friend just invited me to this event.
Yeah.
And when you start focusing on the positive and not on the negative, that's when things change, because there's always something bad going on and you can always dwell on the bad, but then you forget all about the good. So if you focus on the good, though, you're going to create more of what you focus on.
Mm. Yeah, it always comes, I think it always sometimes comes down to the little tiny victories we have on our day to day. Like because when you kind of look at a tiny victory by itself, it doesn't seem like it mounts up to anything. But when you kind of look back after 100 days or something like this, it's like, okay, right. Oh, I started out running a mile. And like, yeah, 10 days later, I was running another 10 days, 10. And then basically by the end of the 100 days, you're like, I'm running a marathon. Like it's no tomorrow. But it's like each day is this tiny little victory, if you get what I mean.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is we get so focused on that day that we don't see the big picture. And even in business, you know what, after a month or two, it's like, oh my God, I've only made $1,000 or $2,000 when you first start your business. But look at these big successful people. They didn't make $100,000 their first month. They didn't make $500,000. It was little steps. It's like, did I have a win? What was my win today? And I'm a huge proponent of gratitude journaling. So every day I have to write in my journal at least 25 to 50 things that I'm grateful for every day, things that I've accomplished, things that I'm happy for. And when you do that, when you start being grateful for even just the little things in your life, you find so many more things to be grateful for. And then, like, some days my list is over 100. It's like, oh, you know what, it's sunny out today and I got to spend time with my family. I was on the lake. You know what, I got to cuddle with my dog. Whatever it was, you start living in this feeling of gratitude and joy at all times. And when you do that, you always look for the great things to come, and it just shifts your energy.
With your gratitude journal, do you write it down by hand or is it a case of you type it up? How do you do
Oh,
that?
all my journaling is by hand. Journaling to me is a game changer in life, and it's part of my everyday morning routine. So I have a couple different, what I call different journals. So I have my manifesting journal, which is the things that I write about, things I want to bring into my life at the moment. So those are goals in my business, my personal life. I have another journal where I journal out my thoughts and feelings. If there's something that's troubling me, I journal it, work through it that way. And then I have my gratitude journal, which is every night I write down, those things for the day that made me grateful. And some days it's really easy. Some days when you have a bad day, it's more difficult. But by the time you're done, it shifts your mindset. So before you go to bed, you've maybe had a really shitty day, but by the time you've done your gratitude journal, you're like, actually, it probably wasn't as shitty as I thought it was. I'm just really focusing on that one bad thing. But look how great the rest of the things in my life are. And then when you go to bed, you just feel so great about it.
Yeah, no, I like this is the thing. I think if you look at the world generally today, if you watch the news especially, like because it's such a pipeline of sort of negativity, like being broadcast into your house like 24/7, you often forget to sort of like look at yourself and go, okay, yeah, these are the things what's made my day good, great, superb. And like you go, right. So when you kind of look at the news and go, oh, that's all going on, you're like going, if you didn't take account for that, you're going to definitely lose yourself in that sort of realm of negativity, which can then knock on to other things going on in your life, making what you see there a little bit more real in your life, when you can go, wait a second, yeah, you know what? I got a discount off a cup of coffee when I went into the coffee shop. Like, yeah, my bus was early and I was there. Like, I got into work like like 10 people smiled at me, everyone asked me about my day. That's great. It's like, yeah, finding finding the good in the day. It shouldn't be, it doesn't sound like it should be something you should do, but I think it's more needed within more people out
It is. It just changes your whole perspective on life. Because, I mean, you and me, we live in countries that are quite advanced. And I like to think about it like we have running water, we have toilets, we have heat in our homes. How many other countries in the world don't have those simple luxuries that we do? And I like to be thankful for those things, because even if your life isn't the best, there's other people out there that have it worse than you do. You
there.
have those simple luxuries that other people don't. So be grateful for those things. You could live in a mud hut in 40-degree weather, and have to haul water 2 miles every day just to take care of your family. You don't live that life. So be grateful for what you have right now.
When it comes to mentioning Canada and the UK, yeah, like it is, when you talk on the global scale, it is like winning the lottery ticket in life. The whole thing is, I don't think we take, well, I don't think we are fully aware how lucky we are at times until you do have a look and go, yeah, well, you got electricity 24/7. Like, yeah, you got the internet, you got, yeah, you don't have to do that walk like 2 miles a day to get water. You got like running sanitation is all fine, good. And you're like, yeah. And like much of your sort of daily struggle will most probably getting annoyed at someone who might cut you up, getting on a train, like, you son of a, that's another story. But yeah, no, we are quite fortunate. I agree.
Yeah, it's just amazing how when you change your perspective on things, it really shifts. Like, even like you say, you get into traffic and somebody cuts you off and you get all angry and you're like, but I'm happy I have a vehicle. How many people can't afford a vehicle?
Hmm.
I can afford a vehicle. I can drive wherever I want to drive. I can afford gas to put in my vehicle. How many people don't have those luxuries? So then it just shifts my mind and goes, I'm pretty freaking lucky, and
Mm.
I'm pretty grateful for what I have. So I need to stop focusing on what I don't have and start focusing on what I do.
Indeed, indeed. Like talking about what you do, like, okay, like the running theme of your life is you always been working for yourself. Like you've set up a business and you've gone with it that way. And I don't know you too well, but I get the vibe of if you were working for someone else, you must probably be a little bit agitated, let's to say the least.
Oh yeah. I'm what you call a not a good employee. I've started my first business when I think I was 8 or 9 years old. I grew up on a farm and I've had multiple businesses throughout my life. I've had worked for myself, and when I've had to kind of go do the employee thing,
Mm,
it's not my cup of tea. Like I don't like being constrained by time limits. Like I'll go to work and I'll get all my work done in half the day. And then it's like you have to sit there for the rest of the day and make yourself look busy because, well, just because you finish doesn't mean you get to go home. And I'm the type of person, I just want to go in, get my stuff done, and then go have fun, go do whatever I want to. And I'm just, yeah, I don't do well as an employee. And I don't like working with lazy people. I know this sounds really bad, but I've worked in so many jobs where I've worked with people who are ignorant or lazy, or they just kind of get by, and I'm like, how can you do that? Like, I want big things out of life. I don't want to just coast, and you're driving me crazy that you're just coasting. And yeah, so I love being an entrepreneur. I love the freedom of it. That to me, the time, the money freedom.
mm.
Like if I want to make more money each month, I just put in extra hours. If I want more time with my family and friends, I make more time for them. I just love that freedom to do what I want to and find that joy and not be relying on somebody else.
Ah, excellent. So, like with that, with regards to your current business now, what is sort of like some of the future plans you might have for that to either upscale it to reach more people? What's the next stage?
Yeah, so I'm working on a few group programs and some more self-study courses. That's kind of my focus over the next few months, is doing more of that. And actually one big thing is I've been wanting to write a book. So this fall, once, the summer season and all this fun settles down and I have a little more time at home, I plan on writing my first book. It's something I've wanted to do since I was a kid. I've always wanted to write a book, and I felt like this year is the year that it's time to start making it happen.
Okay. Do you know what the book's going to be about yet, or is that still floating out in the ether, as they say?
Yeah, I've got a few ideas, but I still am not quite sure where we're going to go with it at the moment. It's kind of like as I start writing and putting the outline together, it'll start to take fold. But it is going to be about sharing my story and about empowering women, about sharing the tools and the tips. It's going to be kind of a self-help book for women and to help them out.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So, will you be sort of looking to live your your remarkable life? Will you be looking to put that out on YouTube or anything like that, or is it out on YouTube at this present time?
I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't use it. But that is my goal, is to do a lot more video type stuff. So I've got a new segment. I'm starting a video segment. It's called Ask Jen. So I'm going to be taking my audience's questions and I'm going to be answering their questions through video. I do have a podcast. I've had a podcast that's been going for about 3 months now.
Okay.
And so I'm going to be converting some of those over to YouTube videos. I love interviews. I love interviewing people. So I'm loving the podcast. So I'm looking at growing that more. And yeah, video is a big thing for me. I'm just trying to figure out how to make that happen at the moment.
Yeah. Like, yes. Let's see. Like, putting that on video. Is it is your podcast predominantly interview based, or is it just yourself?
It's a mixture of both. So each week I interview an inspirational woman who has overcome some big obstacles in her life. And then I also do a solo show each week with tips and tools and things that my audience might need to hear at the moment.
Ah, ah. Um, there is a couple of YouTubers. Oh God, why are they blanking at this moment in time? Which do sort of take along that sort of line where they do sort of interview, but they do information as well. What's her name? Last name's Church. Can't remember her first name. She does a lot. She does some sort of tech, but she does sort of how one of the things what stuck out was she was doing Medium posts, Medium, the article website, and
Yep.
she's going through how what she was making from Medium, and then she was like, yeah, I made $2, blah blah blah, and then she followed up, she went, yeah, about 3 months later, I made $6,000 from Medium, and she's like, oh, okay, goddamn gal, tell me how to write an article. I need some of that money my way. But I think with regards to putting up a podcast on YouTube and then basically doing an information segment, I think that would work out really well. I know I've been speaking to a couple of people where they've been sort of doing batch recording, where they just do the whole thing. They'll do 10 episodes over a weekend and then basically have that good to go for when they're doing information over the course of the year. And it's they just schedule it up and they're really happy with that. So I think it would work out nicely.
Yeah, I need to get more into the batch. I'm right now, I just do them weekly and I keep saying, I'm going to batch a bunch of them together. And then the weather's so nice and it's like the time comes and it's like, yeah, I'm going to spend 2 hours and I'm going to batch record. And then it's nice outside. And I'm like, but I want to be outside. I'm like, once the weather is crappy, maybe next time it rains, I'll batch record. So my goal is eventually to batch record a bunch of them. But at this moment, the sun and the warm weather and the summer has been taking priority, and I'm okay with that for the time being.
Oh, you know what? You live in Canada. I understand. Look, because every time you must probably watch Game of Thrones and heard winter is coming, you look outside and went, it's here. just yeah. But it's the thing, yeah. When autumn hits, do it then. It'd be great. So I'm liking that. So hmm, oh, and I'm back. No, So this is the thing. What has been like some of the challenges you found, like taking up the realms of podcasting? I always like to know this because everyone's sort of journey in the realm of podcasting is slightly different. What did you find like one of your biggest challenges?
Sometimes it's topic ideas. So when it comes to doing my solo shows, sometimes it's like, okay, what would I talk about?
Mm.
And that can sometimes be difficult. And then I think sometimes that's it, is just that putting your ideas together and then getting it into a podcast and then making sure that you're giving the right amount of information, but not too much information, because I don't like to overwhelm people. So sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it's finding guests, like finding inspirational women. Sometimes I'll go through and I'll find a whole bunch of women at once, and then all of a sudden it's like there's nobody, and I'm like, crap, where am I going to find the next person? And so yeah, sometimes some people want to share their stories, some don't, some want to be on podcasts, some don't. So it's just trying to find those other women to share their stories and to inspire us all.
Excellent, excellent. Um, One of the last things I will ask, like, what would be 2 books you would recommend?
Oh, I love this because I'm a huge book person. So the one book that really changed my life was The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. That's where it first introduced me to the subconscious mind and this whole belief around blocks and mental blocks. And another book would be, oh, what's another one I can think of? The was it the 12 Laws? And that the 11 laws, it's about it goes more in depth into the law of attraction. So the law of attraction is one of the 11 laws, and they talk about all these other laws.
12 Laws of Power, Robert Greene.
No, it's called the 11th, or the 11 laws, I think it's called. I can't remember who it's by. It's an old book, but it talks about more than just the law of attraction. So everyone knows about the law of attraction and they think that's the only law, but there's actually a total of 11 of them. And law of attraction is just one of those 11.
Mm, excellent, excellent. Okay, no problem. Would you be able to tell the lovely people out there how they could find you, how they can get in contact with you, and yay, if they want to be hypnotized, how they can do that as well?
Sure. So on social media, I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Live Your Remarkable Life. And my website is liveyourremarkablelife.com. And again, I have a podcast too. It's also Live Your Remarkable Life. So you can find me pretty much anywhere at that. And anyone who wants more information, wants to follow me, wants to get some tips and advice, please go and do so. And I love helping people.
Superb. I'm liking that. I'm loving that. Jen, you have been a superstar today, and I've got to say thank you for coming on to the Day In, Day Out podcast. It has been a pleasure, not a chore. And yes, I look forward to hopefully having you back on sometime in the future. You never know.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun.
Superb. Anyway, anyone who is still listening now, I'd like to say thank you for listening to this episode of the Day In, Day Out podcast. Stay safe, stay well, be excellent, be fantastic, be cool, be all the positive bees you can be in this world and more. Have a great day, guys. Peace. Ha ha. And we are